Tippy time my damies, Topcat here and welcome back to the channel. This here super build is absolutely insane. The OG shards of Galanor haven't really been used in a lot of encounters for quite some time, as since their inception there's been a lot of better damaging supers added to our roster. But with Armor 4.0 we've got insane uptime with them and we're able to boost its damage. In this one DPS phase, I've managed to throw out 4 Blade Barrages. In this master level boss fight, whilst we're at negative 30, out DPSing my average fire team member by about 20%, and they needed to pick me up for the res. This is because the Shards of Galanor Exotic Gauntlets will refund 50% of my super energy purely by hitting my target. Being a super kit, we're of course running the knock 'em down aspect. It enhances all our solar supers and it's going to give us more projectiles to our blade barrage. And whilst radiant, our final blows with our throwing knives are going to be fully refunded. Now the blade barrage can sometimes get inconsistent damage numbers due to projectile tracking. I do also feel like some abilities aren't quite working properly for damage testing inside our shooting range, but my blade barrage on average done around 7,640 damage with the knock 'em down aspect. Another big exotic to run with the blade barrage is that of the Star Eater Scales. It'll boost your super damage upon collection of orbs of light and was hitting around 10,000 odd damage. Technically it should be doing a little bit more than this, but I do feel like it's bugged. But these exotics can become a hindrance when trying to set up for a damage phase, but no matter, as we can increase our super damage purely by stacking up our super stats to 200. This now takes my Shards of Galanor super damage up to 12,200. Now I won't be recommending to run a full 5-piece Paragon. I've instead been going with 3 of the pieces and 2-piece Grenadier, and I push that third spike of my stats primarily towards grenade and class ability energy with a small bit towards the health. This is in order to give us some level of survivability whilst allowing us to throw out more knives. If at all possible, try and run the Lustrous set from the Solstice collection. It works particularly good if you're running a solar primary, which I'm more than often going to be doing. This kit will give us both heals, better flinch resist, handling and reload speed, but if you can't do the full 4-piece, try a 2-in-2 combo with either Bushido, which gives us heals on kills, or Last Discipline from Crucible, which gives us quicker reloads. We're going to want to equip Ember of Beams. This gives our solar super projectiles stronger target acquisition. A very important fragment for the blade barrage, mandatory almost, but it also does give us another 10 super stats. We're not just using this for DPS phases. The beauty of this exotic is we can just chuck these at anything. Orange bars, yellow bars, bosses, champions, even hordes of red bars. It don't matter, they all fall over. You get it up so frequently, it's like your super is constantly taking the little blue pill. So I'm also running Ember of Combustion, where our super final blows with our supers cause targets to ignite, and this gives us a fire sprite, on top of giving us another 10 melee stats. This is handy as I want that 100 melee regeneration. We've got Ember of Ashes equipped, so we apply more Scorch to targets. No matter where your Scorch comes from, it's going to do a bonus 50% more of it. This in turn will help us get more ignitions. We're going to be running Ember of Eruption, so our solar ignitions have a 20% larger area of effect, so we can make more bad guy popcorn. When it comes to your melee, dealer's choice. I prefer Knife Trick. It gives us the most consistent damage, not requiring us to get those headshots, so we can stab those baddies in the back as they try and flee from us, and it's going to give us the greatest level of Scorch. We've got a hands-on mod to speed up our super energy bar when I get melee kills. Depending on the tier of the enemy you're destroying, is generally between 1 to 3%, but when they gave the Shards of Galanor perk to Prismatic, they also buffed the OG Galanor for the 3.0. Now when we get knife kills, it's also going to decrease our super cooldown from anywhere between 2.5 to 5% per kill. This is very handy during your run and gun encounters, and it's the reason we want that 100 melee stat, so we can get those melees faster. And we got 76 class ability energy here, so we can always use that Gambler's Dodge to get more of them. This gives us more of those easy ass blade barrages, and we can melee dodge, melee dodge, melee dodge ourselves to another super in easily 15 seconds. We're using Ember Torches, so our powered melee attacks make us and nearby allies radiant. So paired that with knock 'em down, this of course is going to give us a great source of knives. We now also proc radiant via your on your mark aspect, and by stacking this up we're going to get better handling and reload speed. Now I'm using the shield crush inside the artifact, so whilst we're radiant we're going to get a bonus regeneration rate to our grenades. This is helpful as I'm using the healing grenade to support both myself and my allies. This build does have low health stats at only 40. I try and recommend 50 at bare minimum for any build, but as I have a steady source of those healing grenades, I feel like I can get away with it. I'm running one heavy-handed mod so I can make an orb of power off the back of my melee kills. I do like running a surge system on this kit. For DPS bases, that microcosm kinetic trace rifle is absolutely gangbusters. It deals massive damage to shields, so great when you're running guns. And with this trait, paracausal imbuement, we're going to gain a bonus 20% weapon damage once our super expires. By the time this timer runs out, you're going to have another super ready to go, so you'll always be using this at its maximum damage potential. When it comes to running gun encounters though, being that this is a traditional Solar 3.0 build, weapons like our Dragon Breath are probably going to play a little bit more synergistically with the kit. So DPS phases, I'm running ×2 kinetic surges to give me a 17% damage increase, with ×2 times dilation mods to push out my armor charge window from 10 seconds to 18 seconds. This not only allows us to do damage for longer, but also makes prepping for those damage phases a lot easier. I'm using that Flame Viper and Freeze perk in the artifact, allowing us cheap siphons for multiple weapon archetypes. When I'm running and gunning, I'm tending to run a strand one and a solar one. This is predominantly because I'm running a mid retrograde. Great strand weapon, good for DPS, breaking shields, and take your favorite solar weapon to melt the peons with. So with this combination here, I can put in the big ball of DPS and deal with all champions. Now feel free to pause here for my mods, fragments, and artifact, but there will be a dim link in the description down below. This kit consistently wowed me, guys. Whether that being the bonus damage we get at 200 super stats, or the fact that we get 50% back of it, it does turn your super into what feels like the world's strongest melee. I've loved using the Blade Barrage again. It's easily one of the most beautiful supers out there, and Death by 1,000 Cuts turns you into a real vicious slayer. Holler at me in the comments down below. Has this kit swayed your mind about the solar supers at all? I know a lot of you giant PP DPSs out there won't stop fanboying over the NIGHTHAWK. I'll be taking a look at that next weekend. Till then, make sure to thumb it if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy time my damies, what a tie.